Harai-goshi is a technique of throwing your opponent by bouncing him up using the movement of your hip and foot. Harai-goshi executed in pursuit. It's made the moment your opponent retreats and brings his left foot down. The leg to be used in bouncing your opponent up should be bent a little. You bounce him up around the lower part of his knee. The technique may be used after guiding your opponent sideways. This is harai-goshi, where you jump in to execute the technique. Pull your opponent downwards, and when he straightens himself up in reaction, jump in to execute this technique.
hane-goshi。左足を踏み込ませながら相手を腰に引きつけ右足で跳ね上げます。
In harai-goshi, you pull your opponent close and throw with your hip and legs in a sweeping motion. The nage no kata form is created by pulling your opponent close by putting a hand under his arm and raising him to destroy his balance. In randori, you seldom put your hand in as shown here. Here the technique is performed by following the motion of your opponent who withdraws. Another chance for using harai-goshi presents itself when you pull your opponent out sideways as shown here. The body movement when executing harai-goshi varies, as when you crisscross and change the position of your feet. For a moment, your opponent mistakes it for a right-hander technique. Then you turn and go into the motion for harai-goshi.
harai-goshi その1。右手を相手の反り回し、相手の下腹を腰に引きつけ、右足を払い上げながら腰をひねります。harai-goshi その2。前帯を取り、相手を引きつけ、腰をひねって左に払い上げます。
In koshi-guruma, you grasp your opponent by the neck and throw in a twisting motion with him on your hips. Control your opponent by holding his neck. Place your waist deep under him and push to the side. Koshi-guruma must be executed by holding your opponent's neck.
koshi-guruma。相手の首を右手で後ろから巻き、深く入れた腰を軸にして水車を回すように倒します。
There is an application of tsurikomi goshi which is generally called sode tsurikomi goshi. By pulling up your opponent's arm, you destroy his balance. You then have a choice of either taking hold of his sleeve opening like this, or taking hold of the elbow section of his sleeve. When grasping the sleeve opening, you sometimes do so by pushing your opponent's hand away. The throw is made when he comes back with the same hand to grasp your jacket. is an application of tsurikomi goshi which is generally called sode tsurikomi goshi. By pulling up your opponent's arm, you destroy his balance. You then have a choice of either taking hold of his sleeve opening like this, or taking hold of the elbow section of his sleeve. When grasping the sleeve opening, you sometimes do so by pushing your opponent's hand away. The throw is made when he comes back with the same hand to grasp your jacket. In ukigoshi, you draw your opponent's waist in close using one of your arms, then throw using the twisting motion of your waist. In the practice form, the throw is made as your opponent attacks, as if to strike. In ukigoshi, you throw in a twisting motion after bending back fully, using your left hip as the fulcrum. Your shoulder is placed deep under your opponent's arm, and your arm secures his waist positioned parallel to his belt. Look once again at how you bend your back, how your shoulder should be positioned, and how your waist is twisted.
相手の出鼻を左に回り込んで腰を抱え、前にひねります。
Use when your opponent attacks with koshi waza. You lift your opponent up and throw him down in front of you. This ushiro goshi has developed from the opponent's hane goshi. Ushiro goshi executed just as your opponent tries to defend himself by curling his feet around yours. When changing into ushiro goshi, your opponent may try defending himself by attacking your foot, as in uchi gari. You then lift up the foot that's been attacked, hoist him up, then throw him down. This is in case your opponent defends himself using something like kochi-gari. If your opponent defends himself by using kochi-gari from inside, lift your foot that's been attacked, hoist him up, and throw him down. When your opponent attacks with osoto-gari, push his waist up with your leg as you throw him down. Ushiro goshi resulting from your opponent's hane goshi. You can also execute the technique like this without holding your opponent's hip, but simply lifting it up by using your left foot. These different follow-on techniques are all called ushiro goshi.
ushiro-goshi。払い腰を腰を落として防ぎ、そのまま抱え上げて真下に投げ落とします。
Utsuri-goshi is a kind of technique used when your opponent attacks with koshi-waza, to raise him up and throw him on your hips. This is an utsuri-goshi technique which originates from the opponent's hane-goshi. This is utsuri-goshi, which started out as an uchimata by the opponent. You completely raise your opponent up by the waist and opening outwards, throw after moving him over on your hips. It can also be executed after your opponent attacks with an gari. In this case, you draw your foot a moment before he executes his gari.
utsuri-goshi。跳ね腰を跳ね返しながら抱え上げ、素早く腰を打ち返します。
Kuchiki daoshi is a technique in which you take your opponent's leg and push him down backwards. It's often used in a tournament. You push your opponent down by taking hold of his leg, but sometimes it's executed from the inside as well as from the outside. In kuchiki daoshi, you may simply grasp the other's leg, or you may change it into either from your own or your opponent's technique. Here you turn from nage and grasp your opponent's leg from inside. This is a follow-on technique starting from kata-guruma. A kata-guruma is attempted, but as your opponent defends himself by shifting his weight backwards, the throw is made by grasping his leg from inside. This time we start with the opponent's gari. When the opponent attacks with gari, defend yourself by opening up, turning sideways. As you do so, catch him from inside his legs to make him fall. Here you down your opponent by catching his leg from outside. When you perform koshi-gari, your opponent counters by raising the foot that's been swept from the side. Grasp his leg from outside at that moment to make him fall. this time continuing from ochi gari. The moment your opponent raises his foot to counter the move, you catch his leg from outside to drop him. Look closely at the movement of the right hand. This is not nage, but kuchiki daoshi. A continuous movement is made from a nage, and your opponent is made to fall with the right hand on the outside of his leg. Turning your opponent's harai-guruma into this technique. Catching the foot of your opponent as he attempts harai-guruma, push him down with your left hand to make him fall. Morote gari is often used in a competition. There are different ways of starting morote gari. In this case, you catch your opponent the moment you come to grapple with him. This is morote gari, where you first pull your opponent forward. In this case, nage turns into a morote gari. When you attempt nage, your opponent will react by bending backwards. Morote gari is then performed without a pause. In following on from a nage, you sometimes make one complete turn, as you can see here. This also is an application of morote gari. Here you make your opponent fall by grasping one of his feet using both hands.
Morote gari. 不意をついて相手の両ももを正面から抱え、抜き上げながら押し倒します。
Sumi otoshi. Sumi otoshi is a throwing technique in which you shake your opponent off balance into the rear corner, then throw him by thrusting him down. Using your right hand, you pull up your opponent by grasping his left collar. You make your opponent lose balance by causing him to raise his left foot and shift his weight to his right heel. In another instance, you shift your grip from his left collar to the middle of his sleeve. You then push his elbow up to make him lose balance. Sumi otoshi and uki otoshi make up a pair. Let's now look at the difference between sumi otoshi and uki otoshi. In sumi otoshi, you push and throw your opponent down to the rear. In uki otoshi, you pull and throw your opponent down to the front. The direction of off-balancing and throwing your opponent differs. Sumi otoshi was one of the favorite techniques of Kyuzo Mifune, the 10th Dan. Pay close attention to the principle of the technique, where you force your opponent's left foot to come forward and throw him down in a backward direction.
Non, bouge pas. Tu l'as saisi. C'est pas la poussée. Hein? À ce moment-là, toi, saisis en même temps. Voilà. L'un ou l'autre peut avancer et reculer. là on est comme dans le randori, dans le combat. Hein? Dans le kata, on montre bien le déséquilibre. Pour bien montrer le déséquilibre, au moment que tu vas saisir, ah, là, toi tu recules ta jambe, ce qui fait qu'elle avance. Là tu vois, tu as trop avancé, tu as dépassé son équilibre. Donc, non, tu dois toujours être en équilibre. Hein. Tu vois? Et là, là, c'est là la subtilité du déséquilibre. C'est-à-dire que quand tu vas ramener ton corps légèrement, voilà, avant, ramène un peu, hop, sans dépasser. Tu vois que là, elle est déjà en déséquilibre. Et là, pour maintenir toujours les épaules bien droites, pour éviter de tomber, elle prend appui sur toi. Parce que là, elle est déjà à moitié en déséquilibre. C'est pour ça qu'il y a 3 temps. Après, ça va aller un peu plus. Donc tu fais le deuxième pas. Toi, tu viens pas. Hein. Elle est obligée de venir, tu vois, sans dépasser. Et tu ramènes ta deuxième pour rattraper ton équilibre. Tu vois. Et troisième, là, on fait un plus grand pas sans dépasser. Tu vois, tu as dépassé. Parce que tu ne veux pas y aller. Ton corps, il est droit. Descends sur ton genou. Voilà. Et là, tu vois, et là, tu es obligé de partir. Mais si on dépasse le pied, là, je saute. Je ne fais pas. La distance, au moment que je veux venir saisir, elle recule. Donc, voilà. Ça, c'est un temps. Mais tu ramènes la deuxième jambe. Voilà. Moi, je ne veux pas venir. Tu vois? Et maintenant, c'est elle qui va bouger. Je suis obligé. Regarde, il n'y a jamais j'arrive dans ça. Et maintenant, elle va avancer. Et là, tu n'as pas reculé l'autre. Hein? D'accord? Ok? Ça, c'est pour bien comprendre le déséquilibre. Uke, il doit toujours être... Il ne doit pas... Ça, c'est pas bon. Là, ça, c'est l'erreur que beaucoup y font. Voilà. Et que mon pied, il dépasse. C'est pas bon. Et il n'y a aucun déséquilibre. Je ne suis pas déséquilibré. Le but, ici, hop, ici. Voilà. Et j'ai pas trop... Les pieds ne dépassent pas. Parce que je veux m'arrêter. Maintenant, tu vois, là, je suis sur elle, là, pratiquement. Troisième, elle va déplacer. Elle t'a pas déplacé, là. Hein? Un peu. D'accord? Hein? La distance. Tu me prends. Voilà. Tu vois, si je m'arrête, tu t'arrêtes. C'est moi qui dirige maintenant. Et là, ici, j'ai ma main ici. Si tu veux avancer, tu ne peux pas, parce que je te contrôle. Si tu veux reculer, tu ne peux pas, parce que je te contrôle. Mais par contre, tu es en déséquilibre. Donc là, tu ne peux ni avancer, ni reculer. Donc tu n'as qu'une solution, c'est de t'appuyer sur moi. Voilà. Et bien là, voilà. Tu vois, tu es encore un peu plus en déséquilibre. Maintenant, là, sans dépasser, il faut... Tu avances légèrement sans dépasser mon genou. C'est là que tu vas tomber. Et c'est là qu'on amplifie la technique. Hein? Alors, on fait à droite et à gauche. Pourquoi on fait à droite et à gauche? Parce qu'on peut avoir à faire des gauchers, à des droitiers. Et il faut savoir s'exprimer à droite et à gauche. Et aussi bien faire les ukemi à droite et à gauche. Ça, c'est important. Hein? La deuxième technique, ça, c'est...
Harai-guruma is a technique where you make your throw by turning your opponent around your leg as an axis. Placing your leg near the lower abdomen of your opponent to use as an axis, you turn him around and throw. Execute harai-guruma, and the moment your opponent counters with his right foot, follow on with a harai-guruma.
大車。相手の重心を腰に引きつけ乗せながら右足を伸ばして相手を払い上げます。
Harai-guruma is a technique where you make your throw by turning your opponent around your leg as an axis. Placing your leg near the lower abdomen of your opponent to use as an axis, you turn him around and throw. Execute harai-guruma, and the moment your opponent counters with his right foot, follow on with a harai-guruma.
大車。相手の重心を腰に引きつけ乗せながら右足を伸ばして相手を払い上げます。
In harai makikomi, you lift your opponent up using harai-goshi, then throw, wrapping him around you. There are two ways to throw. In the first method, lift up your opponent and wrap him around you as you grasp him by the arm like this. Another method is to lift your opponent up with harai-goshi, then place his arm under yours to wrap him around you. There's a difference in the timing of when you grasp your opponent's arm. Tani otoshi. In tani otoshi, you step behind both legs of your opponent in a sacrificing motion, then throw him down directly behind. If you can push his elbow up, it becomes even more easy to make him go off balance and fall backwards. Here, kuchiki daoshi is transformed into tani otoshi. On occasions when kuchiki daoshi cannot be executed, you might step in, throwing in a self-sacrificing motion. This also is a kind of tani otoshi. Here you hold your opponent's right arm under your left arm. You perform tani otoshi, sacrificing yourself. Take a look at a different kind of tani otoshi. Step in behind both your opponent's legs, leaning to force him to fall. Let's look at these three similar techniques. In waza, you make your opponent lose his balance forward. He's thrown in that direction. In yoko otoshi, you make your opponent lose his balance to the side. He's thrown in that direction. In tani otoshi, you make your opponent lose his balance backward, and he's thrown in that direction. Observe Nobutoshi Hikage, the world champion for 1983 and 85, use his favorite technique, tani otoshi.
大外回りと内股の合わせ技59秒で勝ちました。2回戦はインドネシアで対しました。勝ち。
kata, nage no, gesa. C'est facile. Il faut vous arrondir. Si votre doigt est, si votre dos est droit, ça ne marche pas. Ça ne marche pas. C'est pour ça que c'est assez dur pour les personnes. Désolé. Il faut vous arrondir. Voilà. Hop. Comme ça, ça marche. Sinon, ça marche pas. Ok? Le point important, c'est mettez votre pied en diagonale sur le nœud de la ceinture. Comme ça. Pas comme ça. Comme ça. Ok? À côté. Donc, là. Hein? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Si vous voulez bien, attendez pas. Hein? Sinon, sympa. Pourquoi ne pas reculer en diagonale maintenant? Hein? Se déplacer à côté? C'est bien? Mais reculer ici, là? En diagonale? Comme ça? C'est plus efficace, je crois. Hein? C'est la direction de la main. De hikite. Comme ça. Ok? Même un pas, deux pas, trois pas, comme vous voulez. Maintenant, reculez en diagonale, tournez un petit peu. C'est uniquement moi. C'est vrai, c'est vrai. Comme ça? Ok? Comme ça? Vous avez compris? Hein? Reculez un petit peu, ou bien premier pas, et ensuite tournez un petit peu. Et on recommence. 1, 2, 3. Même c'est possible bien sûr. J'avoue qu'il y a des risques, parce que si je tourne un petit peu comme ça, si l'autre vise à attaquer, il y a des risques. Comme tout à l'heure, morote aussi, il y a des risques. Comme ça, si l'autre vise à attaquer, là, il y a des risques, mais c'est efficace. Je n'ai jamais tué. C'est bien sûr. Hein? C'est ça que je vous montre. 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Ça va? 1, 2, 3. Un, deux, trois. 1, 2, 3. Si, gaucher. L'autre ne se déplace pas ici. Normalement, c'est là. Hein? Donc, c'est un nage, j'ai expliqué dans un prochain. Maintenant, comment un nage, comment faire? Qu'est-ce que vous en pensez? L'autre jambe. C'est possible. Si je suis doué. Je n'étais pas doué, désolé. Donc, j'ai changé de direction de projection. Ok? Regardez bien. De toute façon, on se déplace comme ça. Tu changes de main. Là. Ou bien là. Là, n'importe quoi. Comme vous voulez. Et de toute façon, tu changes la main. Et puis, hop. C'est efficace, non? Hein? Comme ça. Hop. Encore une fois. Là. Changement. Hop. Les demandées, bien. Plus fort, n'est-ce pas? Hein? Deux possibilités, toujours. Deux directions de projection.
In ukiwaza, you step sideways on one foot, sacrificing your balance, and throw your opponent in the direction of your foot. Around 1883, when the nage no kata form of the throw was established, the technique was performed starting with grappling in the self-defense posture. This is ukiwaza, performed by pulling the opponent forward. This ukiwaza is performed by stepping in with your right foot when your opponent withdraws his left foot. At times, you might assume an oblique defensive posture after pulling your opponent forward by grasping his rear collar and a sleeve, and throw from a self-sacrificing posture. This is a technique of following on from kata-guruma to uki-waza. In this technique, as you're sacrificing yourself in making the throw, it is not kata-guruma. The opponent is pulled by rolling up his right arm under your left arm, then thrown, twisting your body to the left.
浮技その1。右前に引き落としながらその真下に身を捨て肩越しに投げます。浮技その2。身を捨てざま肩越しに倒します。
If you try throwing your opponent with an uranage as he comes at you, he defends himself by twisting. Put your right foot between both his feet at that moment and throw, sacrificing yourself. Here the opponent's harai-goshi is turned into this technique. Here's the way to apply it, following on from tani otoshi. The moment your opponent bends forward to defend himself against tani otoshi, then you follow with this.
Yoko-guruma. 相手の腰技に一瞬先んじて身を捨て、左足で相手の出を阻み、両手はハンドルを切るように肩越しに投げます。
The kata gatame is a hold executed by pressing your right knee firmly against your opponent's right hip, bearing down with your head and neck to clasp both hands around his neck and arm. Clasp your hands, palms crossed, and draw your elbows to your side to tighten your hold. Make sure to keep the balls of your feet on the mat. It's important to maintain your balance while controlling your opponent. You can either bring your knees up or spread your legs out wide in response to your opponent's movements. If necessary, you can also place your hands on the mat to maintain your balance. The important thing is to keep your opponent under control.
肩固め。肩と首で相手の腕を伸ばし、右腕は首をかい込み、両手を組んで固めます。
For kata tejime, hold your opponent down on his back, grasp his collar from the side with one hand using a grip with the thumb inside and apply pressure to his throat. While grasping his collar with one hand, grip the side of his belt with the other and lean forward to tighten the hold. This is an example of using kata tejime when your opponent is on all fours. Approach from the front and use your right hand. Or you may choose to use your left hand. Pull him close towards you and apply pressure to his throat. The important thing is to restrain his upper body with the inside of your right knee to stop him from rolling over and escaping.
片手締め。
neutral. Now, a lot of different ways of doing it, just like there are a lot of different ways of doing every technique there is. So I'm going to show the most basic one I know. And the way to do this is just to straddle his leg. You're going to come up and go around his head. You don't want to be too far with your arm. You want the knife edge of your thumb against the side of his throat. You grab the inside of your own lapel, sleeve, sliding it down to your wrist, and your choke is here. So, here, here, here. That's your choke. Now, it's against the rules to grab the inside of your opponent's sleeve or your opponent's pant leg. But it's fine to grab the inside of your own sleeve or your own pant sleeve, at least for now. All right? So that's the bare here, and you pull her, try to straighten that arm out. I'm shifting. Now notice I'm trying to get this part of my hand against her neck. So I'm actually sliding away from her and on top of her. This arm comes up, grab the sleeve, take the slack out of the sleeve, and here's your choke. One more time. Okay? Let's go.
This technique can be applied to your opponent when he's face down. Catch his forearm with one leg and straighten out or twist the arm to lock the elbow. The right leg is used in this demonstration. And now the left leg. Catch his forearm in a quick movement and control his arm. Applying a stranglehold while doing so will help make the lock even more effective. From a kuzure gesa gatame, you can also lock the elbow by catching his arm in between your thighs. The moment you see him stretching his arm, seize the opportunity to trap it between your thighs. In ude hishigi harai-gatame, you grip one of your opponent's wrists from the side, using either hand, and use your stomach to apply pressure to his elbow. Lock the elbow by straightening, twisting, or bending the arm. To apply the lock in the manner of kime no kata, stretch his arm out and lock the elbow as soon as you get a grip on his wrist. To apply the lock from a kuzure gesa gatame, stretch your opponent's arm and bear down with your stomach. This shows how to lock the elbow by bending the arm and pressing down with your stomach. Let's take another look at this. This is a harai-gatame applied from a yoko shiho gatame. Twist your opponent's left arm and pull it forward. Apply pressure to the shoulder and elbow with your stomach.
Kata osae tai gatame ude kujiki.
In ude hishigi ude gatame, you pull your opponent's wrist and lodge it between your neck and shoulder so that the arm is stretched and twisted, and then press down with both hands on the elbow. This is how to apply the technique when your opponent attacks from the feet. Use your legs to defend yourself and apply pressure on his elbow. You can also assume a more aggressive approach, using your elbows to restrain his arm. Let's take a closer look. Wrap your arms around your opponent's arm and trap it between your neck and shoulder. You can also apply the lock by twisting his elbow and pressing it against your chest. This shows how to restrain your opponent's tsurite, or lifting arm, just before grappling. When your opponent attempts to grab the back of your collar, seize the moment to trap his arm between your neck and shoulder. In order to restrain your opponent's hikite, or pulling arm, wrap your arms around his upper arm and press down. Let's take a closer look at that action. Here's how to apply the lock from a yoko shiho gatame. The point is to place your entire weight on your opponent's arm.
Ude gatame, ude kujiki, sono 1. Ude gatame, ude kujiki, sono 2. Ude gatame, ude kujiki, sono 3. Ude gatame, ude kujiki, sono 4.
Pousser, pousser, attraper, tirer, tirer, monter la jambe, hop, basculer, hop, tirer. Ok. Ensuite, tourner, maintenir, maintenir. Automatiquement, il va essayer de remonter. Hop, ici, attraper, hop, et vous dégardez. Ici, tourner. Ok. Quand on est là, et son bras, il est pris ici. Hein, ici. Lui, automatiquement, il va essayer de remonter là, ici. Hein, ici. Hop, attraper. Tourner. Hop, voilà. Ici, maintenant, ici, regardez. Regardez. Tourner, tourner, tourner. Et j'ai refait une autre. Ok? Waki katame. Mes deux mains, j'ai mis en dessous. Récapitulons. Ici. 1. Pousser. Hop, saisir. Tirer. Avec les deux mains au niveau du coude. Monter. Basculer. Tirer. Tourner. Hop, ici. Rattraper. Tourner. Et voilà. Ok. Allez, vous en avez 3.